Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Jessica Harrington. Tonight on the Now Bakersfield, it's time to hit the trails once again with the Now's Tori Cooper. We visit a spot that features some of the largest trees in the world, and it's been a record year for women running in office. A new report looks into the number of women in politics this year. Plus, an annual leadership conference for hundreds of local middle school students. That's all ahead on the Now Bakersfield. Chris?
Let's take a look at our lineup on this Friday here on the Now, and we could soon better protect ourselves from the flu. And we're not talking about flu shots, so we have some good information for you straight ahead, and you do need to stick around for this story. 58 portraits now on display, one for each of the victims of the Las Vegas shooting. Today you're going to hear from a father of one of those victims, a powerful and emotional story. Plus, how neighbors can make a huge difference in our happiness. We're going to get into that and a lot more straight ahead here on the Now.
Well, tonight on a new episode of Tori's Trails, we're stepping into a park in the southern Sierra Nevada mountains featuring some of the largest trees in the world where you and your family will gain a sense of adventure. The Now Bakersfield Tori Cooper has more on the Balch Trail and what you can expect to find. Tori?
Balch Park lies in the cool forest of the Sierras, and from May through October, it's an ideal location for those looking for hiking, fishing, rock climbing, or other day trip excursions. But this park is also the home of some of the largest and oldest trees in the world. Check it out. If you're looking for a place to escape from the noise of your outside world, then the Balch Park may be the place you have been searching for. If you head towards Porterville from Bakersfield, Balch Park is about 2 hours away, and your GPS will take you up the mountainside until you reach the park. Once you get there, you will be surrounded by some of the oldest and largest trees in the world, according to the information inside this park museum. This tree has fallen down, but the tree behind it is the Lady Alice tree, which was originally named the largest tree in the world in the 1900s, according to the museum. But even though it's just over 300 feet tall, it's no longer the tallest giant. Some of the animals you may meet and should keep an eye out for, according to the visitor center, are black bears, cougars, and bobcats. This is also an area made for campers, so remember to lock up your food before you go to sleep. If you want to cast a fishing line in this pond, keep in mind that you are limited to just 5 fish. But if you are in the mood for a waterfall, stop by the visitor center to get a look at this map and head towards the Hidden Falls Trail. Depending on how long you want to hike, from this sign it's about a 2.6-mile hike to the Hidden Falls. The route is along a dirt road overlooking the Sierras. The terrain is overall pretty flat, and you will smell fresh sequoia trees the whole way there. And the trees will grant you the perfect getaway from the Bakersfield heat before you reach the falls. If you are contemplating hiking further from here, the trail beyond this point is not clearly marked the whole way, and you may get lost. I even had to turn back for the first time. But luckily, if you turn here, you will still have hiked 5.2 miles round trip from the sign before making your way back to Bakersfield. Now, even though I hiked to the bottom of the Hidden Falls with my friend Tori and her dog, there are other trail routes available that you can also find at the visitor center or online. I would say the Hidden Falls hike is an easy hike made for anyone, but keep in mind that some of the routes are made for more advanced hikers. But regardless of where you decide to go, remember to pick up your trash and to make sure that you tune in next week for another episode of Tori's Trails here on the Now Bakersfield. Jess?
All right, Tori, thanks. Well, 2018 is being touted as the second year of the woman, with a record number of women running for office. The Center for American Women in Politics at Rutgers University reports more than 30% of candidates running for state and federal offices this year are women. They go on to say that the majority of those women are Democrats and are seeking congressional seats rather than a statewide office. Analysts say having more women on the ballot will likely cause more women to vote. Soon, California judges will determine who gets to keep the family pet during a divorce. That's thanks to a new bill that was just signed into into law. The new law will allow judges to consider the pet's well-being and how it was cared for before making a decision. In the past, courts would typically just assign the pet to the spouse who adopted it. Lawmakers behind the measure say to many, pets are more than property. The new law goes into effect on January 1st. Meantime, you can help out some sick local puppies. Kern County Animal Services is asking for chicken and turkey meat baby food for puppies who are recovering in the Parvo Isolation Ward. You can drop off donations at the shelter on Fruitvale Avenue. Dozens gathering this morning for a special auction for the Salvation Army that will help a good cause. Cages with items inside were auctioned off starting at $25. Everything that isn't sold in the stores goes to the auctions, and on Fridays, the Salvation Army then brings those items out to sell. Anything that wasn't utilized or sold is then recycled. Organizers say the proceeds go to helping the Adult Rehabilitation Center.
The things that are sold here and the money that is made here goes directly back to the men. And if it doesn't go to the men, it goes to the Corps, which also helps the community. This is a great way to support your community and to support the ARC.
The auctions are held every Friday at 9 o'clock in the morning. If you want to attend an auction, the entrance fee is $5. Well, grab your cowboy hat and throw on your boots this weekend for the annual Boots and Bachelors fundraiser. It's happening tomorrow night at Buck Owens Crystal Palace from 7 to 10 p.m. More than a dozen of Bakersfield's most handsome, eligible bachelors will be strutting their stuff for a good cause. 100% of the proceeds will go to the Bakersfield Homeless Center. For more information about the event, you can call the number on your screen, 378-5646. More than 700 students from over 100 area elementary and middle schools taking part in a special leadership conference. The 30th annual event was held at the Bakersfield College Gym. It helps students become effective leaders in their school and the community. They're led by high school student advisors and work on improving their leadership skills through collaborative work with their student councils. They also learned how to combine music with leadership from guest speakers and professional drummer Clint Pulver.
They've got the zeal, the power, the passion, and if you can go in as a speaker and open up their heart to deliver a message that makes an impact, man, it works, it resonates, and it can change a school, it can change other kids. There's nothing like speaking to kids.
The event was co-sponsored by Bakersfield College, Kern County Superintendent of Schools, and the Fruitvale School District.
New info for you here in the Now newsfeed. Listen to this. Bill Cosby, if you can believe it, is in more trouble with the law. A law firm now suing him, and they say he didn't pay more than $282,000. Those are fees related to his defense over sexual assault. Cosby serving 3 to 10 years in prison. The future of the killer whale in danger. That's according to a new study in the journal Science, suggesting that chemicals that were banned more than 40 years ago still hurting marine life could lead to the end of half of the world's killer whale population by the end of the century. Target's launching a new clothing line with the nonprofit Vital Voices, which is a group that helps women who are tackling issues in their community. Target hoping this new line will attract some younger shoppers. Well, we have a simple and straightforward warning straight from the Surgeon General, and it is all about the flu. Yeah, he says you get it from somebody, so get vaccinated and stay home if you're sick. Now, we just learned that last year's flu season, it was the worst in decades, killing 80,000, putting 900,000 in the hospital. But there is a new strategy that could greatly reduce that number. Researchers at the University of Texas at Austin were able to come up with some new data by using some new methods to look up some better flu forecasting. They looked at 5 different sources. Those include CDC data, hits on the Wikipedia page for the flu, tweets about the flu, and how many WordPress blogs mentioned the flu. The most helpful information, though, that came from a national health data company called Athena. They provided real-time numbers and locations of how people are getting the vaccine, how many people were diagnosed with the flu, where people were getting flu tests or flu prescriptions. With all that, they were able to improve their forecast by 15%.
The more we can do to anticipate or forecast when the flu season is going to spread, when it's going to peak, how many people are going to be infected and hospitalized at the peak, and when it's going to subside, the better able we can prepare public health agencies, doctors, hospitals, and even schools so that they can do a better job at preventing the spread of flu and saving lives ultimately.
And get ready for it because the flu does tend to pick up in October. All right, back to our lineup here. 58 portraits on display, and it's one for each of the victims of the Las Vegas shooting. Today you're going to hear from the father of one of those victims. It's an emotional story, and that's when the Now continues. Agents say a device being installed in an ATM to take your information. But one man is making the kind of history that nobody wants to be a part of. He is the first to be convicted of a DUI for riding a motorized scooter in LA. He was riding it drunk, then he hit a pedestrian. Well, 45 minutes, think about that. You probably spend more time than that every day in your car, but it could mean the difference between life and death for someone who is in your car. That is a lesson that a mother and daughter are grateful they can share. And the Now's Chris Welch has their story.
When I check car seats with the police and firefighters, 8 out of 10 are wrong.
Firefighter Michelle Ice once made that same mistake. Nearly 20 years ago, she thought she'd installed her daughter's car seat correctly.
You know, it's not a rocket science to put in car seats, so I put it in, couldn't move it more than an inch.
Her fellow firefighters at a National Highway Traffic Safety Administration sponsored Safe Kids event checked her seat and fixed several mistakes.
And then 2 weeks later, I was hit by a person that ran a stop sign and hit my driver's door, and I was, knocked unconscious immediately.
Michelle nearly lost her life. She was in a wheelchair for more than a year.
And then Brooke didn't have a scratch on her just because of that car seat check.
After Michelle recovered, she got car seat certified and took Brooke with her to all sorts of safety events over the years.
Growing up, we went to all bike rodeos, water safety events, and of course car seat checks.
Following her mother's lead, Brooke went on to become a firefighter too. The mother-daughter duo now work together at Safe Kids events to make sure kids are strapped in properly.
If you take the 45 minutes to secure your child's life and get educated on car seats, the kids are going to be able to grow up to be whatever they want to be because they're going to be safe on the road.
Laura Dunn with the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration says nearly half of all car seats and booster seats are misused.
Every 33 seconds, one child under the age of 13 was involved in a crash. And on average, about 3 children die every day.
This Saturday is National Seat Check Day. To find a location for a free check, go to safekids.org. Reporting for The Now, I'm Chris Welch.
And as Chris mentioned, tomorrow is National Safety Check Day, and the California Highway Patrol and Bakersfield Police Department will be hosting the car seat check here locally in Bakersfield from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's happening in the parking lot of Burlington Coat Factory on California Avenue near the 99. Now, participants must have a car seat in order to have their seat checked. Well, it is almost the weekend, and you know what that means. Friday night football around Kern County. The Now's Allison Gargaro taking weather outdoors tonight, joining us from McFarland High School, where football is underway.
It's a gorgeous night for Friday night football. The sun is setting, temperatures are dropping, but unfortunately it was a hot one this afternoon. 98 degrees was our high today, so that's 11 degrees above seasonal for this time of year. Feeling a little bit more like a July day rather than a day at the end of September, but we do have a nice breeze that we've been feeling, especially in our mountain and desert cities, even for us here in Bakersfield, and that is good news. That is going to be bringing us good air quality. We'll have an AQI of 46 tomorrow. And even better news as for temperatures, if you're planning on heading out to the Kern County Fair, doors open at noon tomorrow, but by 4 p.m., we're only going to be hanging out in the mid 80s and then down to 68 degrees by the time the fair ends tomorrow at 11 p.m. But as for temperatures for the rest of the weekend and into early next week, well, we're hanging on to those below seasonal temperatures through Monday, and then a big drop down to 77 on Tuesday, 76 on Wednesday. This could be our first precipitation event of the year. 30% chance of rain for us here in the valley and nearing 50 in some of our mountain communities. So we will be tracking that storm as soon as we get closer. But again, temperatures just gorgeous this weekend, which is perfect for the last day of the fair. And if you are planning on heading out to any of the football games this evening, well, it is going to be just beautiful out here.
For The Now, I'm Kumasi Aaron.
Powerful and emotional story there, Kamasi. Thank you. Do want to get to this one next. That new tax law, everybody's been talking about it and how it's affecting a lot of different things. And we found that it's affecting everything from divorce to retirement. It's changing how alimony is taxed if you divorce after January 1st. Right now, the tax break allows the higher earning spouse to give more money to the alimony recipient. That's because payments are tax deductible. Now, the new law will make alimony non-tax deductible, and that means the person paying will try to lower those payments and get the other person will get less. Yeah, lawyers expect the new law to make divorces even messier. It'll be more difficult to reach an agreement. Now, let's talk about retirement a little bit. The taxes retirees owe on retirement accounts, pensions, and annuities, that could change. Some retirees may also have to pay taxes on Social Security benefits. All right, next to our lineup, how our neighbors can make a big difference in our lives when it comes to happiness. We'll tell you why when The Now continues. "45% of people 45 and older say they feel lonely." That's according to a new study from AARP. And then now it's Andy Taylor showing us one way to stay connected.
Nobody bakes anymore. Nobody eats sugar.
Sharon Koenig and Chris Russell became neighbors 3 years ago.
I'd come over in my pajamas and knock on their door, and they...
Both wanting a vibrant social life, they moved into a 55-plus neighborhood.
It's kind of like college. In a neighborhood like this, where it's 55-plus, we're all in the same boat. We're retired or we've got time on our hands, like that freshman year in college, where you're just out to get to know each other.
Are you warm enough?
I'm going to be fine. Okay. I grew up in Minnesota, you know.
Oh, that's right.
Sharon says her health and happiness have never been more important.
Because we all need friends, so we're a little bit desperate.
Their friendship started out with walks around the neighborhood, talking about life.
Being with everyone.
Yes.
Being with you.
They never realized how important a neighbor could be later in life.
Hey. Well, you know that there's somebody that notices you during the day, that says hello, or if somebody's flying out the door, there's at least a wave, an acknowledgement that you exist.
But anyway.
Sharon worries about her friends who live in rural areas and are isolated from their neighbors.
Knowing the two individuals involved and how gregarious and bright and curious and interested they are in life, that the convenience of walking out your front door and having somebody to chat with, or to, on the spur of the moment, say, let's go do XYZ, or can we get you tickets for this event? They don't have that. And it concerns me that their outlook on life may diminish, or they just may not be having as much fun as we are having.
A new study by AARP found 75% of people who know most or all their neighbors say they are not lonely, compared to 64% of people who know none of their neighbors say they are lonely.
All the views of the world can't make up for a good friend and neighbor. It just doesn't.
For the now, I'm Annie Taylor.
All right, Annie, thank you. And we're going to be in Las Vegas on Monday, 1 year after the attack. We're going to be talking with survivors who are working to find peace a year later and finding new ways to support each other.
That's going to do it for us. We'll see you at 11.